Hi, and welcome to another episode of Missio Way Health and Wellness. So glad you're here. And today we are talking about all things grocery store shopping, taking out the overwhelm, especially when it comes to reading labels. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever stood in the middle of a grocery store aisle, picked up an item off the shelf, flipped it over to look at the ingredients, and been like, I don't know what any of this means. I just think the package looks good, so cool. We're going to put it in the cart and go for it. But then you've always had that nagging guilt of thinking, what am I actually eating though? Is it safe? Is it okay for my body? Am I okay as far as inflammation goes? You are not alone. I have been on this journey for a really long time. I have learned how to read labels because I've had to with allergies in our family and food sensitivities, and making sure that we're making healthy choices so that we don't have symptoms that appear later. One of the things that I wanted to share is, what are the top 3 things that I look for on a label, and what can you look for too to ensure that you're making a good, healthy choice when it comes to label reading products that you're buying at the store for you and your family. The very first thing that I look at on a nutrition label is the sugar content. Sugar is in everything. Sugar is not bad in and of itself. So please don't hear me say that. But so much of it, and especially with how much of it that we have in our American diet, yeah, it's a problem. And we've become addicted to it. Literally in every single genre of food, I feel like there's sugar in just about everything. And again, while sugar in and of itself is not a dangerous food and often adds a bunch of flavor enhancement to what we're eating, it can be bad if we are eating copious amounts of it and not even realizing it to boot. Sugar's in everything. When I say like everything, I mean like ketchup and all of our cereals. It's in soups that are quite salty, but sugar's there too. It's in breads. It's in packaged goods that you get from the freezer section. It's in boxed goods that you find on the shelf at the store. And again, while we don't want lots of sugar, some is okay. But I've also found that sugar can be one of the top inflammatory things for so much in our family. And it feeds all of these negative things that could be going on in our gut, such as a bacteria called Candida. But you don't want to have an overabundance of it, or your body will start to react negatively to it. Sugar feeds that. And anything carbohydrate that you eat then can be turned into sugar. So that's something to keep in mind too. Again, we need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are wonderful. Sugar is not bad. I mean, it's good to have these kind of things because it creates electrolytes between the salt and the sugar, and it creates this beautiful synergy for your body to flourish under. But our American culture and our American diets have really taken that to the extreme, and it's really scary to start looking at these labels to figure out, wow, the sugar content is like way up there. And the thing is that a lot of these food manufacturers have added these different things into our foods, not only because it tastes good, but because it makes us want more. It's a crave kind of thing. And it's very telling to me that when you remove a lot of those added sugars from your diet and you stay away from them for a while, and then you try to go back and have something really, really, really sweet, you don't crave it anymore. If anything, it almost repels you, and you get like, oh gosh, it's too rich. It's too much. I'm satisfied. Like, I don't want an entire cake or an entire massive caramelized drink from our favorite coffee store or anything like that these days. Whereas at one time we did. So, sugars is definitely the first thing that I look at. And I'm also looking at it in the way of serving size. So, if on a label it says that it has 35 grams of sugar per serving, I know that that's extremely high. Typically, I don't want more, at least for a female body in where I am. I don't want more than about 24 grams a day. That's for my whole day. So if I have one thing that is 35 grams of sugar, I know that I've already exceeded well past my normal threshold for a day, and that I really need to take another look at that and make sure, do I really want all of that? And how's that going to make me feel? So, sugars is one of the top things that I look for on an ingredient label. What's a good level to reach? What's a good level? That's going to depend on the person, as well as if it's a child, if it's a female, if it's a male. And there are different statistics and studies online to give various ratios and aspects depending on, your size, depending on your gender, depending on your age, like all of those kind of things that you need to take into consideration when it comes to consuming added sugars. For me, I typically will try to find things that don't have more than probably around 8 grams of sugar per serving. And this is for like big desserts if we're doing that. But for everything else, I try to find stuff without added sugar. That's the better safe thing. Let's do some natural sweeteners. We don't need to have a whole lot of natural sweeteners because that can also up your glycemic index and can cause sugar crashes and other things. So you have to be careful with how much sweet you are consuming. But overall, if you can limit your added sugars or just not have them at all, that's a better way to go. The number two ingredient that I look for that I would definitely want to avoid with all things that are processed and on the shelves are a medley of different preservatives that are added. Namely, I am looking for preservatives that have been banned over in Europe, but for some reason are still legal and readily available here in the United States. As an example, BHT is one that I do not want in my foods. I also do not want TBHQ, and I don't want potassium bromate in my foods. These are all different things that I'm looking for in the ingredient list. I also try to avoid datum. I don't believe that that one is banned across seas, but I don't like those kind of things in my food. And I also want to make sure that I have ingredients in there that I can pronounce. If I find a lot of ingredients that have just different names that I have a hard time of pronouncing, I will take my phone out in the store and I'll look up those ingredients to say, is this one safe? And I will look at various articles, different trusted resources that I have vetted to make sure that what we're putting in our body is safe and also makes sense. The last thing that I also try to avoid are food dyes. I don't see the reason to put them in our bodies. While I have had my fair share of amazing icings and sprinkles over the course of my lifetime, I've also found that there are some fabulous alternatives now that you can order online that are colored with real foods, beets, carrot juice, lemon, anything that you can imagine. And it's all there and readily available at our fingertips now. Sometimes you can even pick these things up in Target and Walmart if you look toward like the top shelf. A lot of times they'll have these ingredients there. But what I try to do more than anything is avoid those three types of ingredients as like a starting point so that I can make sure that I am putting good foods in my body and that my kids are getting the proper nutrition that they need. Here's the key takeaway that I want you to have in mind when you're going through the grocery store. You are a good mom. You are doing all of the things that you know how to do. And as you acquire more tools and more things in your belt to put toward these good decisions of food, just know that you have to take it just one step at a time. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Goodness knows I have over the years tried a lot of different things. And do I have it absolutely perfect and to a T? No, not hardly. But I do know that I'm making good choices now and that we have seen tremendous progress in our family in the way of symptoms for stomach pains, eczema, mood issues, like all kinds of ailments that we used to have when we had these different foods and ingredients in our basic eating of what we did. They've essentially gone away, and I couldn't be happier for it. So I share all of this saying that you're doing a good job. Please don't feel like you have to get this perfect every single time because you don't. And if you have a food or two that have an ingredient or whatever that you're like, oh, we really should stay away from this, but I really want to just try it. Chances are every once in a while is not going to be the end of the world for you. Do you want to avoid it most of the time? Yeah, probably. Because here's the thing with all of these ingredients, if you have them a lot, they start to stack on top of each other. And that's where the issues really begin because you get an accumulation of them in your body. And your body's like, I don't really understand what's going on here. And it starts firing off all these signals. And that's when you start having your issues. So, as long as you're taking baby steps and you're trying your best, figuring out the path that works best for you and your family, just know that you're doing a great job and that things will fall into place eventually. And as you go more and more down this trail of making holistic and healthy choices, your family and you will benefit as well. I hope this is really helpful for you. I hope that you can take this information, use this the next time that you go to the grocery store. And if you feel like this has been helpful or that you want to send this to a friend, please do so and consider liking and subscribing below on this video. Sign up for my guide to how to shop the grocery store well and make sure that you're getting all of those great nutritious foods first before filling your cart with all of the other goodies that I know that you'll find throughout the store as well. Thank you so much for being here, and until next time.